Hello, Cleveland, and welcome back to another edition of the Dawgland podcast. I am your host, Jackson McCurry. My co-host, Anthony Joki, is on assignment for this episode, but we do have a special guest coming into the Dawgland. He is a longtime friend of the show. He is our resident draft guru, and he just dropped Mock Draft Monday over on the YouTube channel, which please go check it out if you haven't already, as well as his Mock Draft 2.0, which he dropped on the Dawgland.com on Friday. It is our good buddy, Alex Hale.
How
Alex,
are
what's up,
y'all
buddy?
doing, guys? It's time to
Welcome on back.
acknowledge your tribal chief. And a special message to our friend, Mr. Anthony Joki. I hope on assignment you are enjoying it, sir.
Shots fired once again on Joki. Alex, thanks for doing this, man. We planned on doing it last week, but of course, Mother Nature said, and it wasn't a hailstorm. It was just straight up severe weather hitting Northeast Ohio. But thank you for doing this on a Monday night.
Oh, yeah, no problem. No problem.
Yes. And Alex, we are almost into the month of April, but we are inside 30 days of the NFL draft. It just seems like it's getting real. It also is dragging. We're in that point where it's dragging, where we read into every mock draft, we read into every rumor, and a lot of it is complete BS.
Yep, and we're going to get into that.
Yes, we are. And speaking of reading into every mock draft, and I really hope all our listeners go over to the Dawgland.com and read Alex's mock draft that he dropped on Friday, but we are going to dive into it. So if you're watching on YouTube, you're going to see it as we discuss it here. Alex, this is it. This is mock draft 2.0. Obviously, I think you're going to have one more coming before the draft. But let's dive into it. Obviously, what's expected, number one, the Raiders going Fernando Mendoza. That just seems to be the apparent thing that'll happen. The Jets.
Please, everyone, make sure you read the line with the Fernando Mendoza. I tried to make it comical there.
And you did. But Arvell Reese going 2 to the Jets, that would not be a surprise. David Bailey going 3 to Arizona, that would not be a surprise. The surprises start at pick number 4 with the Tennessee Titans, and that's where I wanted to lead off on this discussion. Ruben Bain to the Tennessee Titans. I feel like Tennessee could go in a number of directions here, but you said, is Bain over Bailey? Like Todd McShay had argued, like, you have Jermaine Johnson, like you said, so why not take a similar player in David Bailey? But Bain is a guy who will wreak havoc in Robert Saleh's defense. Explain your more of your thinking here with this pick.
So I don't think the Titans really have that edge type that is really needed in Robert Saleh's defense. I did think about Sonny, and they can go in like 3 different ways. Sonny Styles, Jeremiah Love, Ruben Bain. I'm ruling out Carnell Tate because they're high second round pick. I think there's going to be somebody there worth taking to add to this room. I think it's one of the 3. You can make a case for each one. At this point, it's a coin flip. I think a lot of the Jeremiah Love stuff you're hearing early, I think is trade bait. I think you're looking at Arizona and Tennessee trying to bait teams to come up and pay up for a running back. I think these teams are going to be asking for a high price, and it's not going to happen. I think they're going to ask for too high of a price in this draft, and I think they're fine with, sitting there and saying, hey, I'm going to take the pass rusher. I just think at the end of the day, it's Robert Saleh. He builds his defenses to be elite, and there is no player in this draft who wreaked havoc at the end of last year like Ruben Bain, who can play all along the line at his size, and that Robert Saleh he's going to scheme around him and just create havoc for offenses with his defense. It's what he needs, so that way his offense can get back on the field.
Without a doubt. And it makes sense to go defense, but it would not shock me if they go offense. If they go Jeremiah Love, if they go Carnell Tate. You have Cam Ward, who had an up and down rookie year. You're going to want to put weapons around him. You have, the wide receiver is escaping me, but he's been overpaid and unproductive so far for them.
Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, that's.
But they also took Alec Aomanor last year, who looked solid. I'm
Yes.
not saying he's a wide receiver one, but something to build off of. So that's there as well.
Yeah, without a doubt. So like I can see them going Carnell Tate. I can see them going Jeremiah Love, pairing him up with God, the running back is
Tony
escaping.
Pollard and Tajay
Tony,
Spears.
yeah, see, I knew once you would say the names, I would remember him. Tajay
Yeah.
Spears was a draft crush of mine a couple cycles ago. But yeah, like you want explosive playmakers to put around your quarterback. It would make sense, but going defense, building what Saleh was building in New York before Aaron Rodgers came and crashed the party, it would not shock me if they go in that direction as well. Let's continue to look at this. Sonny Styles at 5, another team that's connected to Jeremiah Love. Just makes sense that they could easily move back. Cleveland going Carnell Tate. That seems to be the betting pick right now. We won't dive into it too much just because I want to go over the entire mock draft, and we'll talk about pick 6 here in a little bit. The Commanders going Jeremiah Love. That seems to be, that would be his floor, honestly, I
That's
think.
his floor.
Because I
He's
think
not falling past there.
anybody that wants him obviously is going to have to get into that 3 to 6 range for you to trade up. But I would say that is the floor for him, is going to Washington, pairing him up in the backfield with Jaden Daniels. It just makes all the sense in the world that if you're a betting person, 7 would be the floor for Jeremiah Love.
Yep.
And then you got your first big trade, Miami, who has been very active, obviously, this offseason, cratering their roster down to the studs. Still wondering what Malik Willis was sold on going to Miami, besides the money. But they move up with New Orleans, and they get Mansour Delane, the corner out of Miami, or out of LSU. Explain your thinking here for Miami's pick here.
Well, Jeff Hafley being from Green Bay, defensive-minded, secondary-focused coach, they really need help all over the place, to be honest. And with all the picks that they have, they can afford to move up to get somebody. I don't think Delane gets past number 9. If the Chiefs are staring at him, they're going to – I don't care that they're building the trenches up. They're going to take Delane at 9. He is very much there. I absolutely love Delane. And Jack, I'm going to tease next week's Mock Draft Monday exclusively here. We're going to do a scenario. Mansour Delane is the number 6 pick. And I am not opposed to the idea. And the draft that I built from that, I'm not honestly upset about it. But besides that, I just don't think, if you want Delane when he ran a 4.35 at his pro day, you got to jump the Chiefs. Somebody's going to do it if they want. And I think the Dolphins, they need everything, but Hafley's going to want a strong secondary, I feel.
Oh, without a doubt. He was trying to build that in Green Bay with LaFleur and some of the pieces there. It ultimately just didn't go, I think, the way he planned. Now he really gets to be hands-on and build a defense to his liking. And Delane being the starting point just makes a ton of sense there for Miami, honestly. Let's continue to go down. I hate the Bengals pick. I'm just going to tell you that right now. If they get Caleb Downs,
be biased.
I know, but if they get Caleb Downs, in reality, it's going to be the steal of the draft, just because I think he's definitely at least a top 3 player in this draft class. Omar Cooper, I know that you mentioned this to me. 13 to the Los Angeles Rams. He is a guy that is definitely generating a lot of buzz here lately, especially with Cleveland potentially at pick number 24 if they don't go receiver at 6. But sending him to the Los Angeles Rams to add to that wide receiver room with Puka Nacua, another weapon for Matthew Stafford and what could be his upcoming farewell season. Explain your line of thinking here with Omar Cooper at this spot.
Well, the big thing is Mekhi Lemon's off the board.
Yes.
I have a conspiracy theory in my head that Mekhi Lemon's already been guaranteed. If he's there at 13, the Rams are going to take him. It's the only reason why he's, I don't want to say he's half, whatting this process, but I don't feel like he's fully invested to get up to that top 6 pick that he can be. I just think he's got a guarantee there. The Saints take him at 11 after their trade down, which is a wise trade down. So then you ask the question, who's the next guy after him that's worth taking here? That's Omar Cooper. And I would say Cooper is probably as good as Lemon in a lot of aspects of his game. Lemon is the better prospect overall. There's no question about that. But you can make a case that if you miss on Mekhi Lemon, especially in the Rams offense, who love their yaks, I mean, dear God, Omar Cooper fits this perfectly. And it will not shock me if Lemon's off the board that they take Omar Cooper Jr. here and surprise everybody. But I'm going to sit here and say it's not a surprise. And as I point out, and a Rams friend of mine mentioned Kenyon Sadiq. That's an intriguing option too that I considered. McVay's never had a tight end like Sadiq on this team. You can only imagine how you utilize him, but I'm imagining a world with the toughness, physicality, but the ability in route running and playmaking after the play of Omar Cooper Jr. opposite Puka Nacua. Good luck, everybody. Just good luck.
They're making it perfect potentially for Stafford's last season to try to go out with a Super Bowl. I mean, you load them up with some weapons. Whether you can either scenario at 13, I mean, it's all right for Stafford to try to potentially go win another MVP award with all the weapons that he has. Not to mention, you mentioned Sadiq. They have Terrence Ferguson there, who I would expect will take a step up in year 2. Adding another tight end potentially there would be lethal for the Rams offense. Starting to see a little offensive tackle run here. Ione goes 14 to Baltimore. Fano 15 to Tampa. Monroe Freeling. This is my fault, guys. I didn't proofread it right. Morgan Freeling. Is that a Morgan Freeman? Morgan Freeman.
Monroe.
Freeling.
It's my yeah.
No, I know. That was my fault. That was me
Yeah.
not proofreading. But there's a tackle run.
I was thinking of good old Arthur Morgan.
But there's a tackle run. We see Pittsburgh 21, Caden Proctor, who is a lot of buzz going to Cleveland at that right now, potentially as high as 6. I don't buy it. I think that's a smokescreen just waiting to happen. But tackles off and guards coming off the board, and we got another trade at pick 23, right in front of the Cleveland Browns. Alex, the Arizona Cardinals hop the Browns for Ty Simpson, which would not surprise me because there's smoke for both teams looking for a quarterback. And Arizona obviously jumps the Browns to make sure they don't get Ty Simpson.
Do you want to hear a hot take?
Let's hear it.
It wouldn't shock me if Philly just stays there and takes Ty Simpson for themselves.
That is a hot take.
It wouldn't shock me.
Right.
Like, I'll be shocked naturally because, like, what? But again, we're talking Howie Roseman. We're talking Jalen Hurts had a bad year last year.
He did.
And now you bring in a guy like Simpson who you can sit. You can have him sit. Oh, by the way, here's Andy Dalton to kind of mentor you as well. And we have all these weapons to play with. And if anything happens to Jalen Hurts, you have a mobile quarterback who is very good at reading defenses. I want this to be clear. I like Ty Simpson, the prospect. He is very good at diagnosing defenses. He is very good at making the correct read. I have questions about his durability. I have questions about his happy feet, which is why I do not want him in Cleveland. Especially these scenarios where people are saying, oh, we're going to take an offensive tackle and then a QB and Ty Simpson. Who's he throwing to? Who's he throwing to, folks? Don't tell me 39. Do not tell me pick 39 because I'm not entertaining that. I'll make this real quick. You want to hear a scenario I would accept Ty Simpson, Jack? Carnell Tate, Ty Simpson, a tackle like Markel Bell, who the Browns have brought in at 39. I know that's a reach for Bell. But the point is, you want to talk about setting him up, wide receiver 1, guy who fits all the left tackle measurement needs, quarterback. Okay, now you're giving him a chance. Does he probably fail here? Yes.
Yeah.
But going back to Arizona, what this is all about, I do think a lot of this 24 talk is smokescreen. And I think it's connect the dots here, Jack. Where did Andrew Berry come from? Philly. Whose brother works at Philly?
AB's.
Andrew Berry.
Yep.
Who's really probably trying to leak this stuff for their benefit because they have a lot of salary cap things they got to work through and are perfectly fine acquiring more picks?
Cleveland.
Well, no, Philly.
Oh, Philly, yeah. Well, Cleveland too.
So I'm connecting the dots here with this trade as like Philly is fanning the Ty Simpson to Cleveland Flames for Cleveland. And for Arizona, I love this fit for Ty Simpson.
Mm-hmm.
Great ground and pound running game with Connor and Algier back there. They're building up their line. They'll continue to in the draft as well. You have Marvin Harrison Jr., who I still like. You have Trey McBride, possibly the best tight end in the NFL. You have pieces. Oh, and by the way, you have Jacoby Brissett, who played very, very well last year and is a great mentor for the kid.
And Gardner Minshew.
Yeah. You have a situation. Oh, and your coach, Mike LaFleur, is a McVay guy who we've all now pretty much confirmed, thanks to Todd McShay, the Rams were looking at Simpson with that 29th pick.
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me Mike LaFleur isn't interested? No, he's interested. He's just scared Cleveland will take him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Philly doing Cleveland's work, saying, hey, we'll make sure Ty Simpson goes before you, so pushes a player you want to you. That's what I think this is right now.
And honestly, it does make sense.
Laser eyes, Andrew Berry.
And it's like last year when we got down towards the end of the first round, Jackson Dart was slipping. We heard rumors that Cleveland was trying to move up. Here, I think in reality, they floated those out there to get somebody to pay up so a player slid to them, albeit it was 2 players because we had 2 of the top 3 picks on day 2. Jackson Dart, the Giants came up for him, pushed Carson Swessinger and Quinshon Judkins down to us. So,
and it wouldn't shock me if Cleveland's the one that does it.
Yep. And
it wouldn't shock me.
For those that didn't see it, Tony Grossi snapped a photo of Howie and AB talking at the combine or at the owners' meetings on Sunday. So makes
I'm just
all
connecting the
sense
dots.
Without a doubt. Blake Miller goes 24 to Cleveland. I know a lot of people are iffy on this. I know you're very high on Blake Miller. Makes a lot of sense. I don't know if he can be a left tackle, but that's obviously to be determined.
Measurables. All I'll say on him is
it's gonna make
measurables. The measurables are there. I'm not saying he's going to be a smooth transition. And I'm not exactly high on him. I like that he's meeting the measurables I'm looking for. Arm length, athletic score. Those things that I'm looking for that most left tackles have, he's meeting. His pass protection needs work. I'm more so betting I have a great O-line coach that's going to teach him up. He's from here who idolized Joe Thomas, so maybe Joe might help out a little too, and maybe this could work. There aren't many left tackles in this draft. If you're looking for a left tackle outside of Monroe Freeling, there's nobody.
No.
Maybe Markel Bell, but at his size, can you trust him? Like, there aren't many, if any.
Right.
And it's not, all due respect, I'm not a CC Maui Noah left tackle guy. You can kind of sell me on Fano or Lomu at left tackle. I'm fine with either of those. But if you're looking for the measurables that people talk about that you need in a left tackle, only 2 in the first round meet that. Blake Miller, Monroe Freeling. If this is, and we go to Jack Duffin, who talks about this all the time, RAS scores, if this is something that matters to Andrew Berry, there are only 2. And that's why I don't understand, and don't get me into a Caden Proctor shoot, that'll be draft night if it happens, because I will get worked into a shoot.
All right, so let's scroll down to the bottom of the first round. You got this is where it gets interesting, because I think this might twist into the one of the questions I was going to ask you on here. Who's a player you expect to slip? And you got Jordan Tyson going 30 to Miami with the pick that they acquired in the Jalen Waddle trade. Jordan Tyson, there's a ton of red flags. You know, he can be justified as wide receiver 1 based on his talent. I have liked what I've seen on tape. If the medicals were clear, I wouldn't have a problem with them taking him at 6. But that's where the medicals come in. Tore every ligament in his knee a couple years ago. Broken collarbone, I think 2 years ago, or I think it would have been 2 seasons ago now. And the hamstring, which has been nagging him. I heard Dane Brugler talked about it, saying that there was rumors, like he didn't participate in drills at the combine, and there was rumors about a pro day. He wasn't going to be able to do anything. Now it sounds like that's going to happen. We'll see when it ultimately becomes his day. But Jordan Tyson's the one, Alex, where a lot of people projected him to go top 10 at the end of the college football season. He's probably the one that might slip. Will he slip completely out of the first round? No, I think somebody bites the bullet that has some wide receiver depth and will take the chance. But he's the one that is going to, I
you're
think,
missing
fall
another
on draft
big
night.
one. You're missing someone who didn't go in the first round at all, Jack.
Well, who is
Tennessee cornerback Jermod McCoy did not even go in the first round. And I'm going to say this, because, again, I listened to the McShay Show and a bunch of other pods. The one thing I'm getting from the McShay Show is this. It sounds like whoever is advising Jermod McCoy needs to be fired immediately.
Yeah, he's the other big one.
He tore his ACL, did not play at all this year, and he hasn't even worked out. Well, I've never, ever seen anything like this. Like Jamar Chase, sitting out his last season, that was one thing because we knew he was healthy and we knew he was going to be fine. The tape was there. We didn't need to see anything else. Jermod McCoy's like, we haven't seen you play in a year. And the last time you played, you were hurt. And his agent is saying, oh, no, we're going to stand on no 40 time, some measurables, and no vertical jump, which I really want to see the vertical jump from him and his shuttle because I want to know how he is side to side.
Yeah.
But again, whoever's advising him just needs to be fired. It wouldn't shock me if his teammate Colton Hood goes before him. And that's going to be an insult of all insults because McCoy on the tape before his injury is going top 5 in this draft. I don't know which team takes him. I'll shoot my shot. If he's healthy and plays last year at the level he did on tape, he's the number 2 pick. It's not even a question. Number 1's Mendoza. Number 2's McCoy because they replaced Sauce Gardner with him. He threw away being the number 2 pick. Well, not even this year, but like if he just works out and I'm not even asking for like 4.4. Like run a 4.5 and have good other measurables, you're going to be a top 15 pick. I think he falls out of the first.
Yeah, I could see it because like when they said that he wasn't going to participate in the combine, I was like, that's a head scratcher. And then I dug in and I was like, okay, he sat out all last year because of an injury. And then you haven't heard much about him. And then, like you said, McShay's made some comments about him from people he's talked to. Him and Tyson would have to be the 2 ones that are going to fall pretty substantially. And like I said, Tyson still might go, and a team with wide receiver depth might, risk it and deal with the ramifications.
Somebody will.
But McCoy, I don't know if anybody's going to bite that bullet. I mean, you would have to be pretty sold.
There's more tape on Tyson, and there's more understanding of what's going on with Tyson as there are more questions about what the heck is McCoy doing.
Yeah.
And if it's sounding like his agent's controlling it, that's rule number one with GMs. If your agent's just going to control this stuff, we have no interest. We're not playing this drama.
No. Yeah, you can't. You can't. Has there been any rumors on any of these draft podcasts about how he's interviewed through the process?
Not much. The most I've heard from McShay is, and he's very careful with his words.
Right.
It sounds like this is an agent thing,
Yeah.
where the agent is rubbing people the wrong way, and he's not working out. He's getting bad advice, and a lot of teams are asking, but we want to see him, and they're kind of like saying, "Nah, watch the tape from when he was healthy." Like, no, that's not how this works. When Will Johnson got injured, yes, he fell in the second round because there was a real injury concern, but he went very early. I don't know how far, because of that second tier of corners being so bunched together, there's a good chance if he's really rubbed teams the wrong way, he's falling into the mid-late second round. And then Andrew Berry's going to trade up for him.
Then I was going to say Andrew Berry takes him at pick 39, and then we're all going to be like, man, I really hope AB knows what he's doing. I know he loves his corners, but I really hope he did his homework on this one. I just Googled to see who his agent is. There's an article from A to Z Sports where it says his agent, who is widely recognized as one of the best in the business at representing players, yet is also described as a, quote, pain in the ass by NFL insiders due to his aggressive approach and tactics during the draft process. It sounds like somebody who's well connected with an ESPN insider, but I'm not going to name names just out of respect.
Yep.
Yeah. So we mentioned guys that could fall. Alex, give me a guy that might go earlier than you expect, or anybody during this draft process is expecting.
Well, he went number 20. Was it 29? I think, to the Chiefs. Malachi Lawrence. Learned that name out of UCF. He tested outstanding at the combine, and he was a menace at senior day. He's a guy that just, throughout this process, you see those guys that are third, fourth round picks because of their school. Then they go to the Senior Bowl. They dominate there. Then people are like, okay, let me go back to the tape and watch this. Then you go to the combine, and he tests out of this world. Now everybody has to double take and go like, huh? Okay, I need to watch more of this. Secretly, Jack, I want the Browns to get him at 39. I don't care if we have a ton of edges. I want him here. Heck, if you could tell me the way the draft would fall between 24 and 39, I'd take him at 24. I am that infatuated with him. And it's not just like pure athletic. It's smooth on tape. You see it.
Yeah.
He can be that guy. And Miles will know how to unlock him working with him. So I'm like, oh, man, just put him with Miles and Jesus. We're going to kill everybody. I also really like D'Angelo Pons and Chris Johnson, the cornerback out of San Diego State. Those two I really like. I think Pons, because of his size, is going to be probably early second, but I can see him sneaking up in the first because of the Jermon McCoy thing. A bunch of teams need corners. With that last pick, I'm picking Avion Terrell because right now he's cornerback 3 on the board. McCoy is 2, but I'm going to probably have him down to 5 or 6 by the time we get to the draft. But Pons is sneaking up, and I think he can make it. Chris Johnson, again, you're looking for the guy that has the size, the athletic ability. That's a guy that, like, when we're talking about, we're not going to draft Jermon McCoy, so who are we going to draft? Because that's what happens when a Jermon McCoy does this crap. It pushes somebody else up. So I honestly think any of the other corners underneath McCoy go up. But Malachi Lawrence is my big-time draft crush in this draft. And it wouldn't shock me at the end of the first round, even though he's a second-round pick, Eli Stowers. Multiple years of production, was a freak of nature at the combine. I keep looking back at that Chiefs pick, and I'm like, it was hard for me not to pull the trigger. I'm like, perfect Travis Kelce replacement right here. I mean, should I not? People will consider that a reach, but like the big thing that I'll say on draft night, and I've learned this over doing this now, what? It's 2026. I've been doing this 17 years. I started in 09 really doing this stuff. And the thing I've learned in 17 years of this is that it's not a reach if it's a perfect fit. Omar Cooper being the example there in Mock Draft 1.0. It's a perfect fit. If that happens draft night, everybody will say, he's going 10 picks earlier. But I guarantee you the smart draft people are going to say, man, I don't even care the position. God, is that a perfect fit? You're not going to say it's a reach. You're going to say, man, it's a perfect fit. And that's where I'm like, man, Eli Stowers with Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce for a year, and he gets to take over next year. Oh, crap, that's going to be a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
So that's another guy who I keep like, the way he scored athletically at the combine, it's not making sense to me why he's not moving up the board. He was a mid-second rounder to begin with. He's still a mid-second rounder. So some doesn't add up, and I think someone's trying to keep his stock down. I think it's the Chiefs with their second-round pick going like, nah. We're gonna build here, and then we're gonna take him and screw everybody.
It makes all the sense in the world, especially now that you have Kelce for an added year, so you can get that guy, ease him into the program, and then 2027 let him rip and be Mahomes' new favorite toy. I agree with you on the corners. I can see them getting pushed up, and kind of hoping one is around for us at pick 39, just because I think corner makes a lot of sense. Corner and safety make a ton of sense for the Browns in the top 100 because you look at the position outlooks over the next couple years, and add into the fact some of the rumors that we've heard regarding a potential corners exit here in the next year or two. You have Tyson Campbell. You can find that next corner. We know AB loves him. We know he invests in him. And his comments about Martin Emerson were pretty telling. Like, we don't have a starting spot for you, even though we have a nickel corner spot open. Martin really isn't the nickel. So corner at 39 or 70 or maybe even 24, it makes a ton of sense for the Browns, honestly, at this point.
The only position he really actually has a track record of identifying.
Correct. Although, well, not on day 3. Day 3 picks haven't been out so hot, but Emerson, Newsome was good. I don't care what anybody says. The fact that he was a starter for 5 years, that was a good first round pick where we got him. But yeah, he has found his corners for sure. And he's found some safeties along the way as well. So would not shock me if he invests in one of those spots early in the draft. Speaking of Andrew Berry, Alex, we'll close with this. He spoke at the Combine on Sunday. We all know what he said about Myles Garrett. Me and Anthony are going to dive into that on our next episode later this week. But here's the quote about the 6th pick. And we'll even talk about the Ty Simpson thing here too as well. Remaining flexibility with the number 6 pick. He said, I don't know that we're going to be picking 6 at the end of April. And if we are picking 6, I have no idea what we're going to take at this point. Alex, when I see this quote, I'm thinking to myself, Andrew's open for business with that 6th pick. Depending on who's there, of course. I feel like there's a couple players that if they're available at 6, I think he'll pull the trigger on. But I definitely think AB is open for business as things stand right now.
I'm going to chime in here for a second and remind everybody that the Travis Hunter trade happened around this time last year. It began right now. And I believe he even said it was at the owners' meetings, like it started. So what he's saying to everybody here is, yeah, teams are asking me about situations. Right now, and this is why I always wait until after that wave of free agency to do mock 2.0, because we know the positions that are going to be drafted by that team. It's one of 2 or 3. And these teams all know it. I can tell you guys, because I've worked in the business and draft night, because of those connections, we might get a guest from one of those leagues. But I can tell you, I've been fortunate enough in this industry to be around two high-level decision makers and picking their brains, one of which I have worked with leading up to 2 drafts with them. And just picking their brains and how they go through it. I'm not going to say any details on it, but I can tell you that about 3 weeks before one draft, I was hearing whispers of movement that later did happen. They did happen later, which is why I can say it. I knew about it 3 weeks earlier because they were already having conversations with these teams, because these teams do exercises of, and it happens around this time pretty much every other day. We're going to do our own mock draft. In this scenario, what if the Jets went Jeremiah Love? What are we going to do if we're the Cardinals at 3? Well, they're going to take Arvell Reese. What are the Titans going to do? Probably Ruben Bain at that point, maybe Sonny Styles, but the whole draft's in flux. That's why you see on these draft shows that they do by the teams, they know who everybody's picking. They already know. They're already talking. So they're kind of knowing what the board's going to be like at 6. Andrew Berry knows there's going to be interest. The question is someone going to meet his price, or is he willing to come down to a middle ground price that he can accept? But again, I go back to, people like Todd McShay, people around the industry that keep talking. They're saying the Browns are looking at 2027. They're not staying at 6. They have no draft capital, extra draft capital in 2027. So how else are you going to do it if you're not trading Myles Garrett? You have to get out of 6. So the question is, and that's why in Mock Draft Monday, we presented that scenario to you. You guys need to have an open mind of falling back further than you want, because it can and could happen. I mean, it wouldn't even shock me if Howie Roseman was already talking to Andrew Berry about what's it going to take to come up to number 6. And that's a heck of a fall.
Yeah.
But it guarantees you that 2027 first. And I'll be honest here, Jack. I don't think the Eagles are going to improve offensively. I think Kellen Moore was the reason Jalen Hurts was good. And if I'm betting against a quarterback who struggles to throw the ball and he's a one-trick pony, I might get a better pick than I think next year. Just saying.
It could be. And, of course, there's the A.J. Brown trade rumors, which may or may not formulate post-June 1st. There's been some scuttlebutt there that deal might have fallen apart. Only time will tell there. But, yeah, if let's just say the Eagles, for instance, we're going from 6 to 23. It's got to be the Julio package. It's got to be the 1, 2, 4 plus 1 and a 2 or whatever the package was. That's what the asking price has to be. For the Browns to drop 17 spots and then to ultimately have back-to-back picks, like, it's got to be quite the haul. It's got to be like the 2016.
It's got to be a haul where Andrew Berry has enough assets to not move those 2 ones next year, but enough assets to come back up, because that's how he works.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm not opposed to the idea. Because let's say Monroe Freeling, because I think 16 the Jets will be open for business, and Freeling's on the board, which I think he would be at that point. I come up and I go get him before the Lions do.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a fairly reasonable price without giving up a future one. So then, is Andrew Berry no one the wiser? Yeah. He looks actually smart for what he did.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's an interesting scenario, and obviously, like, we're sitting here, what is it? We're almost 3 weeks away, I think.
We're getting there.
We're getting there, man, and it's gonna be fun. Just to put that disclaimer out to everybody, we will be live during the draft again, here on the Dawgland YouTube channel. For those that are watching on YouTube, it'll be myself, Anthony, Alex, Jake Samulak, and other guests potentially on tap. Like last year,
Working on it.
well, yeah, you're working on a potential special guest. We had obviously Kay, who's part of the Dawgland crew. She'll probably hop in. Hopefully, we can get Zach this year because he was at the draft party when it was all going on. We had Andy Cleaves.
I'm seeing LaShawn the Sunday before for
Oh.
WrestleMania. He's coming over.
We're only bringing LaShawn on if we draft Jeremiah Love with the 6th pick in the draft.
We're here to witness the tribal chief.
Alex, we're only bringing him on if we draft a running back. Because the Rand will be legendary as LaShawn has been.
I mean, I'm not opposed to Jeremiah Love, guys.
I heard somebody in the Browns organization likes him. I'm not going to name names. But Alex, thanks so much for coming on the podcast, man. We always appreciate you. Hopefully we can get you back on before the draft. I know we've talked about potentially doing your final mock draft live on YouTube. That's
a live mock draft.
That might be fun. We know we need some live. We might do it. We'll finalize some things. We might make this happen, but go ahead and tell everybody what's over on the website, and of course, talk Mock Draft Monday, which we just dropped earlier today on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, so make sure you're checking out Mock Draft Monday. We did a crazy scenario, which I don't think is as crazy as we just discussed, but I'm not even going to tell you the team. Just make sure you go to the YouTube channel and watch that. Make sure you're reading Mock Draft 2.0. I'm going to end the QB rankings for this year because it's a bad class, but I am happy to announce that there will be a top 5. I will not do top 10 for next year's class. Once we know how the Browns lay of the land is at that point, because I think we're going to have a lively debate because no one's going to like that I don't have Arch number 1. Arch is not number 1 on the board.
It's nobody in your city, right?
I mean, he's from Northeast Ohio.
No. I meant in the city you're currently in.
No.
That's what
No, they're in the same conference. They will be playing each other.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that guy is number 1 on the board. It's not even close, guys.
Okay. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that because obviously all eyes for the Browns are on 2027 unless Shador overcomes it all and becomes the guy, which we're all hoping he is, especially after what the owner said.
What do you mean,
today.
Jack? We're going to the playoffs with Deshaun. We're getting instead.
Don't you start with me now. I'm not doing this tonight.
Well, no, make sure you listen to the Dawgland with Jack and Anthony Joki to talk about that. So their next episode, make sure you're listening to that because I'm not going to give Jack an aneurysm.
But yeah, like Alex said, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you guys aren't already. Make sure you smash the like button on the video. It really does help us out more than you guys know. Follow us at the Dawgland on X, on TikTok, on Facebook, on YouTube, of course. Me and Anthony will be back later this week with another episode to talk about some non-draft stuff. We got to catch up on in terms of free agency and some of the comments AB and Jimmy Haslam said, and Todd Monken, which I think he speaks tomorrow, so on Tuesday. So be looking forward to that. And as always, as we get on out of here, go Browns.